If you don't control your mouth will control your future. If you don't control your mind, someone else will rent space in it for free. If you don't master your mood, you'll make permanent decisions in temporary storms. If you don't take charge of your money will take charge of your peace. Control or be controlled. That's the law. See, too many people are walking around frustrated, anxious, and stuck, not because they're cursed, but because they're careless. Not because they're unlucky, but because they're undisciplined. You're not losing to life, you're losing to lack of control. Let me ask you, how many times have you said something and immediately wished you could take it back? How many times did your mood ruin your moment? How often does your money disappear faster than your paycheck comes in? And how many nights have you lost peace? Not because of what happened, but because your mind wouldn't let it go. This ain't about motivation, this is about mastery. Not the dream car, the designer bag, or the look at me lifestyle. Let's talk about what really matters. Because this isn't about looking rich, it's about living free. And freedom, it doesn't come from how much you make, it comes from how well you manage what you have. Let me be blunt. You're not broke because of fate, you're broke because of patterns, spending patterns, thinking patterns, emotional patterns. Money doesn't lie, it's a mirror. It reflects your habits, it reveals your self-control. You think getting more will solve everything, but if you're drowning in debt with a small check, more money will just buy you a bigger shovel. More money won't fix what your mindset keeps breaking. Let me hit you with this. If you're not faithful with a little, you won't be wise with a lot. You think success is a dollar amount? No, it's discipline. Every dollar is a decision. Let me ask you, how much peace have you traded for temporary pleasure? How many nights have you lost sleep over bills you didn't have to create? How many paychecks have slipped through your fingers without a plan? Just vibes. Let's stop pretending it's all out of your control. It's not the paycheck, it's the pattern. You get paid and you spend like there's no tomorrow. Then tomorrow shows up, and you're stressed, anxious, and stuck. Freedom ain't found in a sale, it's found in a plan. Look around. Every item you own told a story the moment you bought it. Some were wise, some were just emotional band-aids. Here's what you gotta understand. Money doesn't just reveal your net worth, it reveals your self-worth. If you're constantly spending to feel better, to distract yourself, to prove something to people who don't even pay attention, that's not shopping, that's escaping. And it's expensive. You don't need more, you need mastery. You don't need another raise if every raise disappears before the month ends. You don't need a better job if your spending keeps you broke. You don't need a new bank account. You need a new mindset. Let me give you a challenge. The next time you want to buy something, pause. The next time you get a check, plan it. The next time you feel tempted to flex, ask yourself, what am I really trying to prove? Because here's the truth. The flex fades, but financial stress lingers. The high from a new phone, gone in a week. The panic when your rent's due and your account's empty, that lasts. Stop sacrificing peace for appearances. Control vs. consumption. You can't grow if everything you earn goes into things that shrink your future. You can't build if you keep tearing holes in your financial foundation. Every time you get paid, you have a choice. Will you invest or will you impress? Will you build or will you burn? Will you secure your future or sabotage it for today? Let me tell you something powerful. Every wise decision you make with your money is a vote for the life you want. Save when you want to spend, that's a vote. Wait 24 hours before a big purchase, that's a vote. Say no to the night out so you can build your emergency fund, that's a real one. And those votes, they add up. You're not just stacking dollars, you're stacking discipline. And discipline gives you options. You can say no to that toxic boss because your savings says yes to your freedom. You can walk away from bad energy because your side hustle says yes to independence. You can support others because your money isn't leaking from poor choices. Money equals sign options, and options equals sign peace. You want to breathe again? Then stop letting every dollar slip away without direction. Build a plan, track your habits, respect your future. This isn't about being stingy, it's about being smart. Because when you control your money, you stop begging life to be fair. You start creating a life that's free. The charge: own your finances, set a budget, even if it's basic. Save something, even if it's small. Cut what drains you, even if it's fun. Delay the want, so you can afford the need. Ask yourself before every purchase, is this helping me grow, or just helping me cope? Will this matter next week, or will it cost me next month? You don't need more stuff. You need more security. You need more margin. You need more peace. And that only comes when you stop reacting to money and start directing it. Now we've dealt with your mouth, we've challenged your mood, we've reset your money. But there's one more, the one that controls them all. The one that either builds your life or breaks it in silence. Let's talk about your mind. That's real power. Let me tell you something. The loudest person in the room, often the weakest. The one flashing everything they own, usually hiding everything they lack. You see, power isn't about showing off. It's about showing up. It's not in the volume of your voice, it's in the weight of your presence. Real power is quiet. It doesn't need to prove anything. It walks into the room and changes the atmosphere. Not with noise, but with clarity. You know what real power looks like? It looks like a person who doesn't explain themselves to people who already made up their minds. It looks like someone who can say no without guilt. It looks like peace in the middle of chaos. Not because life is easy, but because their spirit is steady. Think about it. Isn't it always the most rooted trees that stand through the storm? They don't shake, they don't sway, they stand. Not because the storm isn't strong, but because their foundation is stronger. That's real power. And real power isn't given, it's built. In silence, in struggle, in solitude, in self-control. Stop chasing the spotlight. Start building strength. Because power that's built in private will always outlast attention that's borrowed in public. You see, rich is loud, but wealth is quiet. Scroll through your feed and you'll see it. Flashing cars, branded clothes, high-rise views. But what you don't see, the overdraft fees, the debt, the pressure to keep performing just to keep pretending. Because being rich, that's about money. But being wealthy, that's about wisdom. Wealth is the parent who teaches their child how to manage $10 before handing them $100. Wealth is the man who drives the same car for 10 years so he can retire 10 years early. Wealth is the woman who chooses a smaller house so she can have a bigger life. Let's make it plain. Anyone can look rich, but not everyone can stay wealthy. The difference? Discipline, direction, delayed pleasure. Wealth doesn't need attention, it needs intention. Because wealth is not about stacking up things, it's about stacking up options. Freedom, peace, time. Don't let the noise of rich drown out the quiet strength of wealth. Don't trade your future for fake applause. Build something real. Flexing is easy, freedom is earned. Let me break this down. Flexing is buying the shoes to impress people who don't even notice. Flexing is spending $300 on a belt when your bank account is screaming for help. That's easy, that's quick, that's short term. But freedom is hard. It's built, it's earned through sacrifice. Through saying no today so you can say yes tomorrow. You want to travel without checking your balance every 5 minutes. You want to walk away from a job you hate because your bills are already paid. That's not flex, that's freedom, and it's earned. You know what's harder than looking broke now? Feeling trapped forever because you chose to impress instead of invest. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. They want shortcuts. They want hacks. They want hacks to wealth, but won't break the habits that keep them stuck. You want real power? Stop flexing. Start building. Let your future flex for you. So don't chase what shines. Build what lasts. What shines isn't always solid. Diamonds shine, but so does glass. Fools chase sparkle. Builders chase structure. Stop chasing the car if you can't afford the oil change. Stop chasing the house if you don't even know how to manage rent. Stop chasing the lifestyle if you can't maintain the life. You want something real? Then build something real. Something that lasts when the likes stop, when the trends change, when the fake friends fade. What lasts? Character, wisdom, skill, peace, health, faith. What lasts is what no one can take from you. Not your title, not your followers, not your shoes. You've got to build brick by brick. Patience, vision, discipline. Because what you build slowly, you protect deeply. Quick success fades, fast money disappears. But what you build with intention, that becomes your legacy. Discipline is the real bag. You want the real bag? It's not designer. It's not digital. It's discipline. Discipline is waking up early when your body begs you to stay in bed. Discipline is skipping the party because your future deserves your presence more than your friends do. Discipline is buying the $8 lunch instead of flexing the $40 dinner. Because you've got a vision, not just a craving. Let me say this clearly. If you can't control your habits will control your future. Want to know what's really attractive? A person who doesn't need to buy validation. A person who invests before they impress. A person who puts their future over their feelings. That's the real glow up. And I'll tell you something else. You don't need another positivity post to get you through. You need a plan, a system, a backbone. Manifesting won't save you from mismanaging. Vision boards won't fix what your daily habits keep breaking. Money doesn't solve your problems. Discipline does. A raise won't save you if you're still reckless. Income doesn't make you wise. Your habits do. Being broke, that's not a crime. But staying broke when you know better, when you're able, that's a choice. You're not helpless. You're just untrained. You're not a victim. You're just avoiding the fight. So let me ask you, what are you voting for with every dollar you spend? Because every purchase is a path. Every swipe is a statement. Every decision is a direction. Spend with purpose. Save with vision. Give with gratitude. Invest with boldness. Money doesn't define you, but it will direct you if you're not paying attention. Control your money, or watch it control your peace, your sleep, your choices, your life. Now, we've talked about your mouth. We've talked about your mood. We've talked about your money. But everything we've discussed flows from one place, your mind. This is the real battlefield, not your bank account, not your job, not your relationship, your mind. Because if you lose there, you'll lose everywhere else. Let me make this plain. If your mind is in chaos, your life will be too. If your thoughts are scattered, your results will be too. If your mind is your master, you'll always be a slave to emotion, fear, and pressure. Most people don't need a miracle. They don't need more money. They don't need new friends. They need a new mindset. They need to win the war that's happening between their ears. How many times have you told yourself, I'm not enough. I always mess this up. What's the point? You've got big dreams, but your small thoughts keep crushing them before you even begin. Here's the truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You sink to the level of your patterns. And most of your patterns, they live in your thoughts,